So let's go ahead and start. My name is Serena Sanborn. I work at Waterville Creates. I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator. And we've been doing this series Slice, and it is for teens, but adults have joined us too, which is kind of fun. We're doing a webinar format. So again, that means that you can't really interact with camera and audio, but you can in the Q&A, and helps just for anonymity. I can't say that word. And I think what I'm going to do is have Eileen and Lauren, I'm going to have you introduce yourselves. Eileen, do you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Eileen Chong. You can just call me Eileen. I'm from Hong Kong. I'm currently a junior at Colby College, and I study art history and philosophy. And I've been working at the Colby Museum as an intern with Jordia, who is the senior coordinator of programs and audience engagement for the past 2 years. So it's been quite a journey, and I'm really excited to be here today to lead the Slice program. And for myself in the future, I do hope to work in the arts industry. It's something that I'm very passionate about. I would love to be able to share the arts with others. I don't have a specific career in mind, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But ultimately, I just want to be able to talk about art.
Thanks. And Lauren?
Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren Carter. I'm a senior at Colby College, and I started working for Jordia this September, this late August. And as a senior, I'm looking post-graduation at the moment at what comes next. And similarly to Eileen, I'm really hoping that my path is going to include art and creative forms of expression as well. I've really enjoyed my museum experience a lot. I've really enjoyed helping to create community arts programming and different forms of education and activities. So even some place like Waterville Creates or Common Street Arts, other great organizations, that would be something I would definitely be interested in doing. So I'm glad we're going to get to talk more about all these different forms of artistic expression today. It's very exciting.
And Lauren, will you mention real quick your South End mural project? It's your project, right?
Yes, I will be talking on it more towards the end of the presentation more explicitly, but I will just say real quick right now that I have a project that is ongoing at the South End Teen Center, as Serena just mentioned, and we're in the process of designing a mural as a group with local Mainer Ryan Adams, who's he's an amazing artist and muralist that's been getting a lot of attention recently. So it's a really awesome opportunity to be able to, get together as a group and just share ideas. So right now we're deciding on what our final design is going to look like. So it's going to be exciting. In May, we're going to get to paint that together, but I'll talk a little more about that later.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I think we'll start. I'm going to go on mute and off camera, but I will be moderating the Q&A. So if people have questions as we go. Another thing to say is one of the parts of this is creating a digital tapestry. So if you have access to a laptop, that's great, or an access to a phone we think it works pretty well. I've tried it out. So just to mention, I know that one whole group of you, 18 of you or so, are in a classroom. So I know you may have to work together on this, but that's totally fine also. And we are going to invite people to share what they create in the digital tapestry, and either by email, in the chat, in some way, because it would be great to see what you all create. So thanks with that. I'm going to turn it over to Eileen and Lauren, and I'll mute.
Thank you, Serena. And so basically what the program is that it will be in 2 parts. In the first part, it will be really trying to get to know each other better. And so we have icebreakers. And then I'll introduce you to the Roy Lichtenstein exhibition at Colby, since that would be the center of our program today. And then into the second part, it'll be more your hands-on work, which is exciting because you'll be participating in creating your own comic strip, which is inspired by the Bayeux Tapestry that Lichtenstein looked at. And I'll talk more about that later on. And so now for the first thing that I want us to do as a group, I know we can't really see each other virtually, but it would be great if you can use the chat box function. And then we'll start off with Pictionary. So I'm guessing that most of you have played this game before, but for those who haven't, it's basically where I will draw a picture and then you have to guess what that picture is. And if you can guess it, then you win the game. And I'll be sharing my whiteboard right now so you can see what I'm drawing. And so whenever you have a guess, just put it into the chat box and Lauren and I will look at them. So the first one. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Keep the answers coming. Think more about the program today. What are we doing? What are we looking at today? Any other guesses? Yes, Stephen LaRochelle. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name right, but yes, it is a museum. So let's go on to the next one. Can also continue to just pop answers into the chat. Yes. Artist, yes. Jessica, yes. And we'll do our last one. Oh, thank you for Jessica's group the answer just now. Can also continue to try answering for this last one. Yes, again, Jessica's group. That's great. Yes, it is a comic book, which is something I will be focusing on today. And so thank you so much for the answers. And that was the icebreakers, which was the Pictionary. And now we'll go into the presentation where I'll be talking more about Roy Lichtenstein and also the exhibition at Colby. And so here at the background, you can see a photo of Roy Lichtenstein. That is the artist that we'll be looking at today. He's a very famous American pop artist. And so before we begin, I want to share with you a video from YouTube that kind of talks about pop art, since this is the movement that Roy Lichtenstein is the most identified with.
It was a time of optimism and post-war economic boom for many. Supermarket aisles were filled with consumer products.
sorry.
for many. Supermarket aisles were filled with consumer products. Advertising and glossy magazines told people what to buy and made them want to buy it. Movie stars filled the silver screen, giving rise to celebrity culture, and the youth fought for freedom. Out of this new popular culture, pop art was born. Its subjects were celebrities, comics, cans, condiments, and cuisine. Its style was flat, colourful, graphic, and commercial-like. Pop art was... Critics were sceptical. How could soup be art? But pop artists were referencing the world in which people actually lived. And as Andy Warhol put it, everything is art. In the UK, Richard Hamilton was amongst the first to reference pop culture using cutouts from American magazines. He was followed by Peter Blake and David Hockney. Together, they celebrated and questioned all things American. Over in the land of the free, however, pop art was a reaction to the introverted nature of abstract expressionism. By filling their canvases with flags, targets and tyres, Robert Rauschenberg and Jasper Johns paved the way. Then, Andy Warhol burst onto the scene with his screen prints, taking reign as the king of pop. Roy Lichtenstein turned comic books into high art, and Claes Oldenburg turned toilets into cushions. Down under, pop art started as a reaction to the conservative state of Australian art. A group called the Annandale Imitation Realists added odds and ends to their canvases in defiance. Later, the American and British pop culture explosion was embraced by Aussie artists like Martin Sharp and Brett Whiteley. By the end of the 60s, pop art's heyday was over, but its legacy had only just begun. A post-pop art emerged. In Australia, it was called popism. This new generation mined past and present pop culture and even borrowed, or appropriated, work from the past. Pop art is one of the defining and most recognisable movements of the 20th century. Today, it's more than a reflection of popular culture, it's a part of it.
And so, yeah, that's a very short introduction to pop art. And so who is Roy Lichtenstein? This is the figure that we'll be focusing on today. And so he was born in 1923 in New York City, which was the art hub at the time and is still very much so today. And he was educated at the Ohio State University, got his bachelor's in 1946 and master's in 1949. And after that, he taught as an art professor and teacher at various institutions around the US. And as I mentioned before too, he was very much so identified with the pop art movement in the 1960s, and specifically in the US. And so here on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see one of his famous works, which he created in 1961 at the height of his career, which is called Look, Mickey. And so tell me, who is your favorite Disney character? Since the one here that is depicted as Mickey and Donald Duck, would you have used other characters? Let us know in the chat. And also, what stands out to you in this image? Okay, so chat Bianca and Bowen says the colors. And yes, the colors are very colorful, and this is a very distinct feature of pop art. Any other thoughts? You can just pop them into the chat box. Yes, so Bianca and Bowen also says Sisu from Rhea and The Last Dragon. That's another Disney character. And from Jessica's group, the bug from Princess and the Frog. Yeah, they're all very much so Disney characters that can be also displayed in pop art. And Serena too, she said that she loves the colors and favorite is Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. And yes, so basically what pop art does is really to represent the pop culture of the time. And these are all good answers for the questions. And so what can you do with comic art? What possible degrees and careers? There's actually a lot of opportunities within the field. And so for example, in education, there's degrees in computer animation, illustration, and even studio art. and that includes drawing, painting, sculptures, and many more. And as for schools, there's a lot of institutions around the US that provides this kind of training and teaches you skills that you can use for creating comic art, which also leads you to other kind of skills. And for careers, you can become animators, illustrators, graphic designers, and even production designers. There's a lot of possibilities for careers. And even for companies and industries, they require a lot of people who can have the skills of comic art and making art. And so, for example, in the entertainment industries, you've also probably heard of these companies. They include Marvel, Pixar, Nickelodeon, and even marketing companies and fashion industries require skills like this. And so you can also come back to this PowerPoint later on. I'll send a PDF format to Serena, and she'll send it out to all of you so you can come back and look at these possible degrees and careers. So for this, do any of these careers interest you? Or are there any others that are not here that you think that I should bring up? Please pop them up into the chat. Serena said, I have a friend that worked as an inker for years at Pixar. So like a digital inker, and he filled in colors and textures. So that sounds like a very exciting job that I think all of you can also consider. Any other thoughts? Yes, and from Jessica's group, she says some of her students are interested in comics and fashion, and others are not sure. And being not sure is all right too, because for me as a college student in the third year, I also am not sure what exactly I want to do, but I feel like as long as you're passionate about something, you can still do it and fight for it. Okay, so next, we've been talking a lot about pop art and so more modern, but then also for Lichtenstein, he looked at a lot of different other inspirations other than pop culture. And so we'll be focusing more on that here in the next section, since the exhibition at Colby because it is currently on view. It actually focuses on his earlier works where he is working on different styles and mediums, and he's a very versatile artist. And so here is another video where I'll be showing you, it's a virtual exhibition gallery tour of Roy Lichtenstein's solo exhibition at Colby right now. I will be showing you a short excerpt of it, and if you want to go back to it to look at the video, there will be a link in the presentation later on. Yes, so that's a very short excerpt of the tour, and there's a full version on YouTube. And so some of the first impressions you have, please also comment that into the chat box. So Serena said, I wish I could come see it. Can't wait for COVID to be over. And I definitely would love every one of you to be able to come here and see the exhibition because it is amazing. And Bianca and Bowen said, I think Colby Museum is really cool, and I think so too. And Serena also said, I don't think I have seen this kind of work from Lichtenstein before. And this is very true since, as I introduced you in the beginning, we mostly associate Lichtenstein with his pop art, like Look Mickey that we just saw, but most of us don't really know about his earlier works. And Jessica's said, kind of like Cubism. And yes, he was very much so inspired by Picasso. He really liked the artist, and so he also incorporated a lot of that to his own work. And so we'll be focusing on one of his earlier inspirations, which is the medieval iconographies. And so specifically, we'll be looking at the Bayeux Tapestry, which is the theme of today's program. And so on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a small excerpt of the tapestry, which shows Normans with horses, boats crossing to England in preparation for battle. And so basically what the tapestry does is tells the story of the events surrounding the conquest of England in early 11th century by the Duke of Normandy, who is also known as William. And so this tapestry is massive. It is 20 inches high, and it consists of 75 scenes with Latin inscriptions. So you can already kind of gauge what Lichtenstein was looking at. And so now I have another video to just kind of show you an animated version of the tapestry, since this is something that Lichtenstein was looking at when he was trying to get inspiration for his own work. And similarly for us, for the activity later on, we'll also be taking inspiration from this video. So I'll just be showing you a short excerpt. Yeah, so from that, you can kind of see the different images that are on the tapestry and how detailed it is. And now we'll be looking more at the art exhibit at Colby. And so the first one we'll be looking at is called Storming Castle, which Lichtenstein made in 1950. And it's an etching. So it's basically a print. And then here on the right, you can see another excerpt from the tapestry, which is cavalry and foot soldiers in battle. And so here in the red circle, you can see the knight, the horse. And on the right too, from the tapestry, it's a very similar image. So you can see the process of Lichtenstein's art production, where he looks at a tapestry, takes a certain inspiration from the imagery, and then recreate that in his own work, which is the print. And here in the square, rectangle, you can see the castle where the knight is storming in. So there are a lot of similarities between the iconography that are replicated from the medieval tapestry and then reproduced and reimagined in his own print. And so, of course, there's also differences. And as Jessica and her group mentioned before, his work has a lot of Cubist inspirations, and you can also see this within this work. And so this one is Man on a Lion, which is created in 1951. And it's an oil painting that Roy Lichtenstein did. And the next one here on the right is a sculpture that is called King on Horseback. So this shows how versatile Lichtenstein is as an artist. he didn't just make pop art, but he also had a lot of experimentation with oil painting and sculpture and printmaking. And so here in the middle, you can see another small excerpt from the tapestry that I pulled. So for these three images, tell me what similarities you see between Lichtenstein's painting and sculpture and with the tapestry, and any kinds of differences you see. For example, like the people within the image and the setting. And similarly, you can just pop all your answers into the chat box too. Jessica's group said that they look like chess pieces. Well, that's very interesting because I never thought of it as chess pieces. Bianca and Bowen says it looks like there are kings in all of them. And yes, that's correct. They are all kings in them. And Jessica's group also said they are looking forward. Yep, that's right too. Everyone is looking forward, especially the king. Any differences you see between the images?
In the chat, Serena had mentioned that she liked the colors of the man and the lion. I feel like that constitutes a sort of departure from the tapestry with the white background and so much saturation and color.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for the tapestry, like the colors are a lot muted. Okay. So we'll be looking at another artwork, and this one is called Roy Lichtenstein, the Knight self-portrait, and it's also an oil painting. And it was created in 1951. And here on the right, you can see a photograph of Roy Lichtenstein. So it's kind of funny, you can see, yes, and Serena said, I love the humor in this one. And that is exactly why I chose this piece and why I love this piece so much. You can kind of see the similar facial expression on Roy Lichtenstein in the photograph and also in the painting. And yeah, Jessica's group also said he is smiling, and that is very true. Oh, what? Sorry. And here on the left, we have another excerpt from the tapestry. And so let me know similarities and differences you see again in the painting and the tapestry, and also the photograph of Lichtenstein. And is there anything you like about it or you don't like about the self-portrait that Lichtenstein painted? And again, you can pop your answers into the chat box too. And Bianca and Bowen said, the colors seem similar in the tapestry and painting. And yes, they're very similar. They are all using really muted tones of like red, yellow, green, and blue. And it's very different from the painting we see from before, where Serena said that there's a lot more saturated colors. And Jessica's group said it is kind of small to see, but his outfit is curious. And that is true. So what Lichtenstein is trying to do is emulating the kind of costume that the knight is wearing, the tapestry. And Serena said, I love the humor in his work and that he took the tapestry and made himself a knight. What a fun self-portrait, and I believe that's so too. So I really like how the eyes are different size in this portrait. It makes it very comical. And so, yeah. And so now it's your turn. So this is the activity part of our program. And so here are some themes that I've gathered after looking at the pictures that we saw just now. And so here are some themes that you can think about. So for example, battle prepper, battle scenes, king giving commands, and then storming a castle, daily life, defending a town, planning invasion, and fighting with beasts. These are all some themes that you can be thinking about when you're creating your own comic strip. And so here are the instructions of making the comic strip, and I'll walk you through the whole process too. But very basically, what you'll be doing is choosing a theme. You can refer to the ones that I mentioned just now or come up with your own. And then what I really want you to do is create a storyline. So making a narrative. And so you can choose your characters, beasts, and even settings to tell that story. And you can write sentences that guide the narrative. So you can put in sentences that describe setting and emotions. And you can create 3 story frames and then put them all together using an online collage maker. And Lauren has already put the instructions down into the chat box. And so here below, you can see an example that I created myself. So what it says in the creation I made is battle scene of soldiers in motion, fallen soldiers laid lifeless. And in the third scene, it says, but they fought on bravely. So my theme is battle scenes. And now I'll show you how you'll be working on this. And so here is the website that you'll be using to create your scenes. And here they are backgrounds. You can choose other ones if you want. And then there's folks, miscellaneous. So for example, there's this boat that is very similar to the one we saw in the first excerpt of the tapestry. And then you can decrease, that's a moving background I have. You can change the size of the images. And so to create text, you just have to double tap on your screen and then you can type. And you can also change the colors of the text on this bar on the right-hand side. And then to save the image, you just have to press this button down below, and then you can save it onto your desktop. And so you have to create 3 frames. After you have the 3 frames saved on your desktop, you come to this other website where it will help you create a collage. So since we'll be only having 3 frames, you can delete the cells as appropriate just by right-clicking too. And then after you drag them in, you can also download them. So here you just have to click save and then click desktop, and then you can have your final work. And so we'll be having 20 minutes for this part of the activity. And at around 10 minutes, I'll remind you of the time. And so here are the instructions. I'll just leave them here on my screen so you can look at them when need be. And for now, you can start working. And I'll share some music, some jazz music actually, since Roy Lichtenstein was very inspired by jazz music and he listened to it a lot when he was working in his studio. Okay, so first to Jessica's group question, how to make a second page. So you just have to save the first image first, and then you have to click everything, and you can create second image on the website. And as for how you set up on an iPad, I'm not too sure, but you should be able to drag the stuff into the frames too. And for typing, I'll show you that again. So how you type is that you double tap on the screen, and then you can just type using your keyboard. Does that answer everyone's question, or do you have any other questions too? Okay. So yes, if you have any other questions, just put them into the chat box too. It didn't work. Are you using a phone or an iPad? Bianca and Bowen? iPad. So if you double tap on your screen, does something pop up? Yeah, so Serena had a suggestion. So if you can't get the comic website to work, you can also try just getting out a pencil and paper to make some few images. And as for the iPad format too, if the text doesn't work, you can still make images and drag them into the setting. Yeah, that sounds great, Bianca and Bowen. And yes, as Serena said too, you can always return to this later too, since this website is always up, and you can use it to create other comic strips too if you want to come back to it later.
And Eileen, one of the things I was thinking is, you know, we're at like 11:17, and it might be, I don't know, I love the idea of everyone sharing the work, but it might be that I don't know how much more you have to do. We had originally said like, you know, around 11:30-ish we complete, and I want to make sure we have time for everything. It might be that we have people email their results. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it would be great if people can just email the images to you, since I think we have some technical issues right now. But yeah, we can return to this later since this will always be up. And I guess we could just proceed. And so we'll be continuing with the program. And sorry for all the technical issues and for still staying online with me. And so, yes, here's a page of a lot of resources. There's links to how to make comics, links for how to make a career out of comics. And also, as I mentioned before, the link to the Colby exhibition, which is on the museum's website, which includes also the virtual gallery tour on YouTube. And all of these links are accessible on the presentation, which will later be shared to all of you. And so now we have a very exciting art opportunity that is near you. And Laura also mentioned this a while ago at the beginning, and he'll take over from now and talk more about it.
Okay, so now that we've warmed up our creative minds a little bit, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this South End court makeover project that I'm working on with the South End Teen Center. So what we're working on right now is making a courtside mural, and it's a collaborative group design. So we're meeting virtually as a group, and we're asking people, what would you like to see represented in this design? What are some colors or images that we associate with our experiences at the South End Teen Center or Waterville in general? Yeah, how do we want to represent ourselves? What do we want to do this? So it's this collaborative process, and we're working out our different ideas together and getting to collaborate with local Maine artist Ryan Adams as well. So amazing muralist, been very active in the community recently. So that is an absolute pleasure to have that opportunity. And just to clarify as well, this is totally open to anybody in the Waterville community. We want to incorporate as many voices and perspectives as possible. So even if you're not a member of the South End Teen Center, haven't been involved with that organization in the past, this is still absolutely 100% open and welcome to you. And so at the moment, we are meeting this Friday, actually, at 3 p.m. is our next design session. We're going to have another one in April, and then our goal is to execute the mural together in person. We're going to be able to actually get together socially distanced and compliant with COVID regulations, but we're going to be able to be outside in May and actually get to execute the design that we worked on together this spring. So I'm really excited for that. And then in this process, we're going to be able to bring some fresh energy and color to this space. You're seeing bring some fresh energy and color to this space, collaborate with one another, hear each other's ideas and voices, and get to engage with these different forms of creative expression and representation that we've been talking about. And then in this process, we grow more connected to each other and then also to our community in these different spaces. So it's going to be really exciting. There's a lot coming out of this project. Project site is up here right now, just so you can start imagining and visualizing potentially what you might put there, what you might like to see. So yeah, this is the little court space, and then in that rectangle right there is where we're imagining it. It's going to be executed and hung up on this fence. So what was once a sort of barrier is going to become this wall of life. New hoop. And in the fall, we actually got to execute the first stage of this project, which was the installation of a new in-ground hoop system in the South End Teen Center's court space. So that was very exciting to have that first step to inspire us on our journey of designing this mural. And so when we get to finally paint the mural, we'll have a couple different updates to the space. It'll be really exciting to put it all together and see it come to life. Just wanted to give you perfect timing, Serena. Here are some images of Ryan Adams' work, the work in the past. And as you can see, he has a couple different styles. All of them are, in my humble opinion, amazing. Very colorful, bold, as we tend to imagine mural and graffitis. And so we can think about these different style elements that he's bringing to the table and how we might want to see our ideas take this form in sort of different stylistic elements. And then just a quick update, give you a quick idea of timeline. As I mentioned previously, this month, so this Friday, it's gonna be at 3 p.m. is our next virtual design session. There will be another one in April, the date to be announced. And then May, I think it's gonna be May 8th and 9th, project execution, painting in person, spray paint murals, a lot of fun outdoors. It's gonna be awesome. And then, as I've mentioned, I am a senior at Colby right now. So after graduation in May, I'm not sure exactly where I'll be yet, but we're starting to think about how we can continue the legacy of this project past my graduation date and how we can keep this partnership and collaboration between with the South End Teen Center and the community and with Colby alive, and how we can, yeah, just keep updating the project in years to come. What else can we add? How can we expand this? Is it more hoops? Is it more murals? So that's another amazing thing to think about. Even if you might not be able to get as involved as you might like at the moment, there's going to be possibilities in the future, and the possibilities will only get bigger and more exciting. So that's something to think about as well. So yeah, that's a quick overview of my project. I would love to answer any questions, hear any comments or concerns that anyone might have. You can feel free to throw those in the chat right now. You can message me privately if that's a possibility in this format, or you can email me right here at this email on the screen. And I will also be sticking around for several minutes after the official end of the program. So if you happen to want to hang around and toss a question my way during that time as well, you can absolutely feel free. But just like I said, we're hoping to get as many voices involved, as many perspectives. And I'm really excited to finish up the design of this and get to paint it in May. So it'd be awesome if anyone would be interested in joining. So let me know. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lauren, for sharing about that. I'm so excited about that project, and I will share your email in once this recording is all done and up. I'll share that for everyone too. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lauren. And so here are the prizes. Thank you so much for participating today. I'm very happy to have shared with you Roy Lichtenstein's exhibition at Colby. And so each of the group that is participating today will get an exhibition catalog. As you can see, the images on the left. It's very beautifully made, and I hope you would like it. And on the right, you can see drawing notebooks, and it will be accompanied by drawing pencils, and each of the participants of the program will be receiving them. And so all these materials can be picked up at the Waterville Public Library. And when you get there, you have to ask for Sarah Taylor, who is the teen librarian there. She will know what to give you. And for more details about when to get it and when to go, these details would be provided by Serena. And you all have her emails too. And so again, thank you so much for participating in this program. And now we have a short Q&A session. So if you have any questions for the program itself, so like activity 2, and also for Lauren's project, you can just ask here in the chat box, and also privately message us if you want to. And also thank you so much for Serena for being here as a panelist too, and for supporting this whole program since Slice is initiated by Waterville Creates too.
Thank you, Eileen. So I just got a great email from Jessica with one of their really awesome images. So I'll make sure to share them with you. I'm going to put in the chat also our surveys, just what you thought about the program. And I have one for adults and one for teens. So let's see, this first one I'm just putting in the chat now. That's funny. I thought that was actually labeled a little better than that URL, but that one's for the teachers and parents and adults. And this next one that I'm putting into the chat now is, whoops, maybe posting into the chat. That one's for participants, the teens who participated. And we'd love to have those surveys. They shouldn't take you longer than all of 5 minutes. So did everybody get a chance to ask anything? Okay, great. This has been really super fun. I will, so Lauren, I will add when the library to go is. It's Monday through Friday, 1 to 5, but they may be expanding the hours, expanding to Saturday. But Lauren, you're the one dropping off the materials, yeah? Okay, so just let me know once those are there for people to pick up, I'll let them know. And then I know for sure that Jessica's classroom will, head over there, or Jessica will head over there herself to pick those up because those look really fun. Cool. I'm just making sure there's nothing else in the chat here.
Okay, so yes, so here on slide 2 on the screen, you can see 2 different links, and the first one is the Colby Museum website. So you can find more about our upcoming programs and also the Roy Lichtenstein exhibition at this week. And also we have an Instagram page, which is also linked here, which is just Colby Museum. And you can also look up on us on Facebook.
Awesome. I see Jessica says they love the website and they're going to keep playing with it, which is great. Yeah, it's a really fun one. I love the beasts, especially, I don't know, but I'm drawn to beasts anyway. Cool. All right. Like if there's no other, yeah, if there's no other questions, I'm just checking both places, then we probably are all set. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add, guys?
I was going to say that I should be, I think I'm scheduled to drop off those notebooks tomorrow morning. So I will definitely reach back out to you when I officially do that, but it should happen very soon.
Awesome. And Lauren, if the library, just so you know, if the library, it doesn't have the front door unlocked, you can also drop them in the book drop with just put a note on it, Sarah Taylor, because she knows you're coming.
Oh, sorry.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Jessica. Again, you've like brought your classroom to each of these, and it's really wonderful to have you all. So this recording will be up on YouTube probably by the end of the day. We'll see. Sometimes it takes it a little bit to come into my inbox. And then I'll send you all a link. I'll also send an email with Lauren's email and Eileen's email. And also just links to those surveys again, because those are really great for us to get back, because we'll keep doing these programs and we're really having fun doing them and reaching more teens and more people. So thank you all. Eileen and Lauren, this was great. Thank you so much. And Jordia, Jordia is not on, she's on mute and she's not on camera, but thank you, Jordia, for having this happen too. Yay.